Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta and we are talking about focus is on drink that many Indians wake up to, and that's tea. India currently produces 30% of the world's supply and nearly 80% of this is being consumed within the country itself. Demand for tea was high domestically last year with a total of 1.1 billion kgs of tea consumed within India. The hot beverage also got a healthy tag following the pandemic, which has only spurred demand further. This demand trend only promises to get stronger with the upcoming winter months. However, in the face of growing demand, smaller players have continued their domination that began nearly 2 decades ago, held by government support. This has left larger producers asking for a level playing field. With the global tea market estimated to grow to $229.3 billion in 2022 and exports at a high, the opportunity is only growing for both all tea producers. So what's the outlook for the sector and what more can be done to support the sector that employs almost 10 million people? To discuss that and much more, I am now joined by Bala Sarda. He's founder and CEO at Vahdam Teas. Bala, hi, good to have you. And, as winter demand comes in or winter season kicks in, that is, there are a few things that the markets look out for. One is the wedding season and another is the tea and coffee demand that is expected to surge up. While, of course, we have seen the tea demand continuing up from urban and rural India as well, it is all about the made in India tea that also seems to be doing quite well. Among all of this, what is the pattern that you're looking at when you look back at 2022?
Thanks, Manisha, for having me on the show once again. Absolutely. I think, like you said, the winter season is the great time for a business like ours. We definitely see a lot of growth, given the winter months, the onset of, colder days across the nation, primarily North India. And of course, things like, air pollution, which increases the need for immunity-based drinks. So there is a definite demand jump we are seeing as we speak. And of course, we hope to see that growing over the next few months as the peak of the winters hits us. That said, I think on a global level, of course, India, as you know, grows most of the teas exported out in the world. Almost 25 to 30% of the world's production is made in India. And a lot of the quality stuff from India, the 20% you just said, which is not consumed in India, is all exported to global markets. There, of course, due to multiple reasons, while I think the midterm demand looks extremely positive, things are growing, people are moving towards wellness beverages, including tea. I think in the short term, after the peak of the COVID season, secondly, other factors like the war in Ukraine, the inflationary pressures we are seeing, right? US, of course, as you know, the NASDAQ is at its all-time low. I says, basis that, I think the overall spend, on products like these, we are seeing some pressure in demand relative to last year. But I think, like I said, that's only a short-term phenomena. And I think in the midterm and the long term, I think, we continue to see a large movement of consumers towards, wellness teas. And of course, I think it's India's decade. So, a lot of made in India brands are poised to take opportunity of that. And of course, we are obviously working hard every day to sort of, move forward.
Fair point. I will come to, segments and categories there as well. But I do want to know, as you said, that there is a bit of a pressure when you look at demand on an year-on-year basis. How are these numbers looking like? Overall tea market and then specialty teas, premium teas. How have you seen the growth and price movement for these?
I think, Manisha, overall, given there was a disproportionate spike, we saw in wellness teas. I'm talking about the specialty and wellness teas, which people were consuming at home due to the pandemic. In 22, from an overall category perspective, we are seeing a decline year on year. But that said, like I said, it's just averaging out the disproportionate growth which happened for a year or two. But like I said, right, I think starting January, February, we see the growth to get back on track, and we plan to obviously take advantage of that.
And is this trend only Indian, or is it a global trend as well? And how would you look at both of the, globally and India buying trends now? Is it still about the normal basic tea, or do you think people are spending more on premium teas right now? Is it more about the wellness teas? How are people buying? What are the trends?
I think, Manisha, the one thing you can't reverse is the consumer's understanding of how some of these teas help you live a much better lifestyle. And I think that's what the pandemic has done for ourselves. So like I said, I think there is a there is a massive shift, while of course macro numbers, can sort of fluctuate given the disproportionate spike 2 years back. But I think if you look at from a category specific perspective, I think there is phenomenal improvement and growth in categories. And we see that happening, year on year, because what we are fundamentally seeing is that, the consumers who were consuming tea for leisure versus the consumers, who are now, consuming teas for wellness benefits. I think the latter has, of course, gone up significantly. And that's really the audience, the millennials who are more concerned about their health. That's exactly what we are trying to cater to as a brand, be it in India, be it in global markets like the US. And there, of course, I think we see a lot of positive movements. And I think brands and companies which will continue to innovate and make products for these consumers and stay true to their vision, I think, they will continue to grow even in the midterm.
Bala, I was reading certain reports, and they suggest that the Indian premium tea is expected to grow at a CAGR of 4.2% until 2027. I mean, that's a very strong number, really, and the market clearly seems to be talking in billions of dollars when you look at the global market here. So what are we looking at? More innovation, more adoption of tea? I mean, winter is just an example, because there are iced teas and there are dessert teas now, and there is various innovations that we've seen come into this market. So when you look at an year-on-year overall growth in overall categories, how does that look like to you?
No, I think Manisha looks extremely positive.
Okay.
I think there are two things which are driving this, and I think companies who need to sort of continue to capture market share, I think we'll have to continue to execute on that. One, of course, is innovation. Like I said, the tea category is not what it was, say, 10 years back.
Okay.
Consumers of tomorrow, the millennial consumers, are open to experimentations. They want new flavors. They want new ingredients. They want the products which help them live a better lifestyle. So I think innovating around that space continues to be an extremely critical part of our journey as well. And we continue to have a strong pipeline of products we are launching over the next few months to continue to sort of be that brand who caters to the millennial consumer. I think the second would be experience. I think with the pandemic setting up, the onset of the pandemic 2 years back, I think, of course, for a brand like ours and several brands, I think, experience obviously took a hit. Horeca, having your own stores, a lot of those things you could not do the way you can now do it again. So I think, how do you bring experience to tea? Be it in your home, be it in the hotel, be it in a restaurant you go to. I think that's, of course, is going to be very critical. And we, of course, plan to focus on that. Probably have our own experience stores coming up very soon, which is in 2023. Okay. Our first experience store, we plan to open that in 23, which will again help us, gain hopefully a larger share of this growing specialty tea market.
Bala, you were also part of the Oscar goodie bag. You've expanded in US and Canada as well. How has that experience been?
No, Manisha, I think that was, phenomenal. I think more than we being in the Oscar goodie bag, I think I was very proud of the fact that an Indian brand was in the Oscars goodie bag. In fact, we were also in the Emmys goodies bag after the Oscars. So I think absolutely proud moment, not only for me as somebody leading this brand, but also as an Indian. And I think, like I keep saying, I think it's India's decade. You will see many more brands in this category and several other categories come out from India, over the next few years.
And there's a tea-based beer coming in, Bala.
Thank you.
Bala, I was saying that there's a tea-based beer as well coming in. I mean, is there any category, any segment that you're looking which can be left alone?
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't hear that, Manisha. So, no, of course we did. We did a very interesting partnership with Bira recently. We had teas, we had beverages you can consume till evening, probably night as well. Now, with the beer, we had something we can consume after 8 p.m. as well. But I think on a serious note, like I said, how do you target the millennial consumer who has a very balanced approach to everything they do, which means they do have some other beverages as well. And how do you bring bring an experience, new flavors in their lives, right? And that's why we said let's partner with Bira and do something very interesting in this space. And we will continue to do such collaborations and partnerships to expand this top funnel of consumers who are looking to consume specialty teas from a brand like ours.
So, Bala, what is the specialty tea market share as of now that you see in India and outside as well? And the point two is there price sensitivity into the market yet?
Manisha, I think I may not have the exact numbers, but I think we continue to, of course, grow well as a business and, continue to capture a relatively larger share of the specialty tea business in whichever market we are in as a brand. And I think, with some focused initiatives around the wellness space, taking superfood ingredients like turmeric, ashwagandha, moringa, I think, that will further help us grow in this space over the next 3 to 5 years.
All right. Any number that you want to throw at us? At what kind of a growth are you anticipating next 3 to 5 years?
I think we are targeting a double-digit, of course, a high double-digit growth percentage as a business. I think, like I said, this year was an anomaly given and the kind of recession and inflationary pressures we are seeing as a business in the US and Europe. But like I said, we are building a brand for the long term. And I think over the next 3-4 years, 5 years rather, I think we see strong double-digit growth coming just basis, the kind of growth we are seeing in the market as well. So
I want to squeeze in one last question. Do you see a lot of price sensitivity into the market right now, given the fact that there are concerns with recession in...
There is.
There is? Okay.
There is, Manisha. So I think, and I'll talk to you about a market like America, and I think that's very fair as well, right? It's really when, times like these hit, and I think we have seen it historically, the 2008 financial housing crisis. I think it happened then. Then, of course, we saw it in the first couple of months of COVID. Of course, we were in the wellness category, so that recovered fairly quickly. And I think the similar trend we are seeing, right now, given there is there is definite recession which is coming up in some of these markets.
Okay.
But like I said, I think the consumer is being slightly cautious about their spend. But that said, I think a large percentage of our consumers continue to sort of buy from us, buy larger amounts, given wellness and the theme of wellness. That's one category you don't sort of really pull back your spend from. In fact, your spends tend to go up,
increase.
In times like these, right? So when you're more stressed, so like I said, in our business also, if you see the breakup, the more traditional categories like black teas, we would see a demand pressure there. But when you look at categories like herbal teas, green teas, wellness teas, we continue to see strong growth despite the recession in these markets.
Oh, well, that point is well taken. Piping hot onto that one. So while a bit of a dent when it comes to global markets because of price sensitivity there, but clearly innovations and wellness, lifestyle benefits is something that will keep the tea market on the higher side. Bala, thank you so much for joining us with that. It's time for a short break. But coming up, we turn our focus to gourmet and luxury teas in a chat with Isha Mehta, founder of Satori Tea. Don't go anywhere.